All right, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to cover kind of what's been going on, as always, what I've been learning on this journey to becoming a profitable day trader. That is the goal, and so far things are going well, learning a lot each day. As I've mentioned before, I have just a shout out to Trades by Matt. He's on YouTube, great. He live trades almost every morning. Starting at 7:20, and also to the Rosado channel, Carmen or Carmine, I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever heard him say his name, but shout outs to both of those guys. They are awesome and helping my learning a ton. So it's been fantastic to kind of learn from them and try and make this a real thing. So what you're seeing on the screen is Trade of 8. This is the platform that I am trading on for right now. Not sure if I will keep this 100% or switch to a different platform, but I am getting used to it. I have made several mistakes, which is to be expected, and that is kind of where it's at right now. So just to kind of get into some of the stuff that I've been learning, on the left side here, this is a 15-minute chart currently of the micro or any NASDAQ really, NASDAQ futures. So you can see these lines right here represent the trading day today, from 9:30 to 4 Eastern time. I'm in Mountain time. So you can tell the NAS took a pretty hard nosedive today, and then for the second half kind of rallied, and then we saw a little dip in after hours trading, and currently back up a little bit and coming back down. I also have a 5-minute chart and a 1-minute chart to show kind of what's going on. The volume is here on the right, so when you look at this chart, this is the volume of after hours, and then this is the volume that happened during the actual session today, because this is the range. So we opened right here and dropped all the way to here. So it was a pretty good drop. I mean, we started at 11,209, and we peaked at the bottom at 10,872. So pretty steep drop. If you shorted at the beginning of the day and just rode it to the bottom, congrats, awesome job. I did not do that because one of the things Matt says is that he doesn't trade during like the first 10 or 15 minutes of the day, just to kind of see where things are going to open up, because it's definitely pretty volatile. So I'm just kind of following that for the most part. And so I didn't get in on this giant drop. There was also some news in here. I forget what it was, like job numbers or unemployment or something like that happened right here. So I've got 1 minute, 5 minute, and 15 minute. And what I've been doing on the 5 minute, which I will get to in a minute, you kind of see all these colored boxes that I have drawn and shaded in. I will get to that in a second. But for now, over here, I also have still the same NASDAQ, but this is a 22 range chart. So basically, the movement here is 22. If you kind of scroll into here, this is 11,049, and that is basically 22 ticks higher. So that is a number that I got from Matt. It's just what he has back tested and found to be useful. So it's what I'm starting with, and I will get around to playing around with the kind of range. And then he uses, you can see these other, this is the S&P 500. So this is a 6 range chart. And then I have a 15, a 5, and a 1 minute as well. So you can see everything kind of did not do very well today, which is fine. So one of the things that I've been really focused on is Rosado basically talks about supply and demand, which is slightly different than support and resistance. So support and resistance is something that you might find, at a line. So right here, you might find, hey, there was clearly some support here. You might take your horizontal line tool and be like, hey, we've got some support here, and you extend that line out. So, you kind of know, okay, we've got some support as we come down, and then, perhaps it comes back up and then comes back down. It bounces off this line, and you kind of see it as a support line. And that's just kind of a single price point. And so the difference is that essentially what Rosato is teaching. I'm just going to call him Rosato till I learn what his first name is so I can pronounce it correctly. Instead of doing support and resistance, what he really looks at is supply and demand. And there's zones, and that's what all of these colored things are. And he will apparently go out to, a weekly chart, kind of looking back across a week and find these zones, and then he'll work his way down from, day to 1 hour, day, 4 hour, 3 hour, 90 minutes, 1 hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes. And so I tried to do that basically yesterday morning before. So I did a little bit last night, and then I got up earlier this morning before the market opened and kind of charted out the rest. So this is what I came up with based on past days. And I'll just show you kind of a quick example if we zoom way in. So we're still on 5 minutes. I'm going to flip out to 15 minutes to make it a little bit easier here. Shrink this down. Sorry about that. My mouse did not like that at all. And so some of these zones are not connected all the way back to where they should be, which is super unfortunate. And I think that's just part of this platform is the drawing capabilities are not. I want it to just be like, draw me a block from here to here, and I want to put a label on it, and I've not figured out a way to do that yet. So if we zoom in, we can kind of see, let me zoom into 30 minutes actually. So as an example, there's probably a zone down here as well for 30 minutes. And this zone right here, I drew this zone because we kind of came into this and then we came up and out of this and kept going up fairly quickly. Let me look at the 15-minute one. You can kind of see the same thing, right? So we had 4 up bars, so basically an hour of up after this sharp down. So basically what the theory is that there are a number of unfilled orders in that particular case. So another one, let me switch out to 15 minutes. Yeah, the bars just do not work properly, and the chart and adjusting sometimes is just pretty brutal. So right here is a great example. You can see that we kind of fired up out of this zone. We fired up out of this zone. So I marked both of these as essentially supply zones. So if we come back into these zones, there are probably unfilled orders from whatever made this pop up. So large institutional traders, because the retail traders apparently are not moving the dial. Obviously, you and me buying, 1 or 2 contracts or even 100 contracts isn't going to actually do anything. So if you take a look at that and maybe perhaps, here's a better example. And this did deal with some news, but essentially the zone is the previous candle. And this is probably better shown in the 30-minute window because that zone's not drawn correctly. So maybe it messed up my little zone here, which would be super unfortunate. It looks like that is it. So it should just be drawn as, yeah, it is. It is all over trying to draw those rectangles, having a hard time. So right here, you can see kind of how the candle or how the zone should be based on the previous candle. We kind of came up and then we rocketed down. So this is the zone. It's from the top of the wick for a kind of supply zone. Like there's too much supply, it's probably going to come back down. So you can imagine if this dropped and then came back up and touched this zone, there's a bunch of unfilled orders that wanted to kind of short at this price or sell. And so they are getting filled again. So it's likely that when the price comes back up and touches this, that it will hit those unfilled orders and drop down. Sometimes it's obviously not going to work 100% of the time, and sometimes it will blow through the zone and that invalidates the zone. So one of the things that I did today, and I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be charting down to the 5-minute level of zones, but we're going to zoom our way out here. So kind of one of the zones that I drew today was right here. It's gone now because it's been invalidated. but we kind of came into this, came up, and then shot down for 15 minutes. So I drew myself a nice zone starting right here and running across to here. And so then everything just went down and down and down and down. And I was like, okay. And then I ended up not being at my computer. But lo and behold, look exactly what happened. So we came back up. We touched this zone, which has unfilled sell orders. And what did we do? We basically hit this zone and dropped down. I don't even know. So that's like, I mean, if you caught it at the top, it was like 48 and then down to 92. So over a 55-point drop if you caught it end to end. And you don't even need to catch it end to end, right? You know that it hits and you see the movement back down. And if I dropped into the 1 minute candle, you would see it hit and move back down. It stayed inside the zone for a couple minutes, but then it moved back down. And once it was back down, you would take a short on it. And I mean, even if you only got 20 or 30 points out of that swing, it would have been a fairly, easy, in quotes, 20 or 30 points. And maybe you get 40. And that's huge. Just one of those trades a day, if you're actually trading not the micro, if you're just trading the regular, you hit a 40-point, swing, you're doing fine. So that was kind of what happened. And then you can see we kind of came back down to point of control, which is that yellow line. And then we kind of shot back up into here, and then we finally broke through it. And that invalidates the zone. And one could very easily say, well, you see this zone right here, we came up and then we shot down again. So, perhaps this box should actually be drawn, right here instead moving forward. And you can see there's already another box, but this is a pretty interesting thing as well. And so if you look at this, right, and it didn't quite happen the same way, and this is obviously the case. We came down from this zone. We came back up and touched this zone, and what happened? Back down. It took longer because this is after hours trading, but it was pretty obvious that was going to happen. One of the other things that's super interesting is if you look at my kind of cursor, these are standard deviations. So this is 1, 1.5, 2, and 3. Pretty much anytime we get close in general from what I've been seeing, if you get close to that second deviation, you're probably coming back down or coming back up. I have definitely seen them hit the third standard deviation, and it, just hangs out there. But eventually, the lines will kind of move up to it based on the point of control, or it will come back down. So unfortunately, I wasn't at my computer here because I would have taken this short for sure. Right here, after hours, things are moving pretty slow, and you can see we'd have just ticked down from 78. It's a nice 20-point drop. So on the micro, when you place a trade, it's basically $2 for every point the NAS moves, which is fine for right now. Obviously, that's not probably going to, at one contract, it's probably not going to do enough to become a super profitable day trader where it's like, oh, this is my full-time job and it pays some bills. However, if you go up to and just for comparison, on the S&P 500, it is $5 for a point, and that's mostly because if you look at the price here is much lower. So it's kind of spread out to the same probably percentage. I don't know how that's actually determined, but it's basically 10x that on the non-micro when you're just trading the E-mini. So, a 20-point move, that's $500. Is that right? No, $400. Sorry. Obviously doing the math wrong. So that's, if you're making $400 on one trade and you're being super patient, which I was today, in previous days, I was not as patient. It was great. So that's kind of the zones and how I drew them. And then obviously, the zone that I drew and then moved is now invalidated. And I'll need to go back and take a look at this tonight before the market opens tomorrow to find out, why did I draw these zones and why are they overlapping like this, just so I can kind of validate hey, we did come down, come back up, touch, so that this zone kind of got used once, then we came back up, touch, we got a little down, and then we kind of shot up and we invalidated this zone, right? So this zone is pretty much gone. But I've got a couple other zones drawn, and unfortunately they're not swinging back to where they should be based on the triangle or the squares that I drew, rectangles that I drew before. Man, it's obviously late. Can't even think about my shapes. So that was kind of what I've really been focused on. This is the first time I really tried to chart everything out prior to the trading day, and then just let the market open and watched and waited. And so that was kind of how the day went. So let me show you what actually happened during the day. Let me first just drag this over. That's just my DOM, and then do this. I wonder if this is going to show correctly. All right, so here we go. I'm going to just go to this week to start, just to kind of catch you up on what's been going on. So we already kind of covered all of the trades down to here, and you'll notice probably right away that right here there's a problem. So I happened on my DOM to I was trying to figure out the depth of data, and I loaded the non-micro NAS, so the one that's much more expensive, and then I placed a trade. And then I noticed that the P&L on the DOM showed way more than a normal, $2 a point. And so it was shifting, I think it went down like minus $150 and then back up. And as soon as it broke kind of above, because it was highly fluctuating and it wasn't really a trade I wanted to be in on the non-mini yet, or on the non-micro. And so I exited out, and luckily I ended up $15 up. So that was a little bit of a kind of scare, if you will. But then the rest of the day, this is kind of the 20th. You can see I put in a lot of trades, and I will say that I was not patient. I was not focused on what I was supposed to be focused on, and I'm still learning. So, it's hard to know, right? This is how you do it. This is why I'm doing this with real money instead of doing it on the simulation account. But you can see right after that, basically 2 trades in a row where I took the wrong way, and it sucked. And then got a little win, got another win, got a bigger win, but then followed right up by a bigger loss. And then a small loss, and then a big win. And one of these, I think it was this one, I bought at 208, and I got out at 227. I think that one was fine because it was 45 seconds. But I think this one, is this the one I shorted? Yeah, so this one that I shorted, basically I had a bracket set, and as soon as I hit a certain profit threshold, it popped my stop loss, which in this case just became a stop because I'm not going to lose at that point. It popped my stop up to like 2 points underneath the profit where it currently was, and then I stopped out. And then it sucked because the run up went on for like another 50 or 60 points. So I missed out big time. So I've turned that off. I don't really care for that feature, or I don't have it dialed in well enough. And you can see some of these trades, this is almost a 40-minute trade right here to lose $6. It's a pretty painful $6 loss. Do you wait that long? And I'm pretty sure I got stopped out of that one. So, not a stellar day. I actually ended up, even with, I've ended up every single day so far, even with commissions and fees, even though like the first day I was up like $2, and the second day I think I was up like $4 after commissions. So let's kind of move forward into the next day, which is the 21st. And you can kind of see right here, I'm highlighting these. Oh, you probably can't see because my camera is in the way. So you can probably see right here, start the day off pretty well, profit of 13, profit of 47. I was in the market about 26 minutes after it opened, or I guess technically I was in the market at 7:48. So I waited just over the 15 minutes. And then I shorted from 260 to 237. So that part was great. That was a great trade. And then I, of course, bombed 2 trades in a row. Both my stop losses got hit clear. And this one happened like instantly. It was just like, whoom, I bought in and then it just dove. So that sucked. And then I got stopped out of this one as well. And that one took almost 10 minutes. And then I had 2 more good trades, and then, you know, 1 more bad trade, 1 in and out quick for 50 cents because it was heading the wrong way. And then I ended the day with two good trades. And some of these are actually after trading hours that I traded. So like you can see, I think in a couple of these cases, like this is like 7 o'clock, I think, at night for me, or 9 o'clock at night, actually. Although I don't know what time zone that's in, so that might actually be 7. But anyway, some of these time zones are a bit off on some of the sites. And then today, I was very pleased. So I missed out on further runs, but I ended up with all 3 of my trades being profitable. And this first trade was essentially planned out. I caught the run I bought here, and it was on a down day, right? So I caught the run from 11,005 up to 26, so a nice 21-point run for 41.50. That was the first trade. You can see I was pretty patient. I waited, an hour and 15 minutes until the market had, after it had opened, and then this next trade lasted all of 10 seconds. And I, in hindsight, I should have been more confident in my trade that I placed. I got out after initially, basically I bought in and then I got out very quickly. I should have just set my targets and let it go because it actually did move in the direction that I thought it was going to, and quite a bit. So this should have been a much better trade. I lacked the confidence in that particular trade. And then this last trade was really... 15 points in 30 seconds, which is fantastic. So, and that was a very easy one. And again, that one, if I would have been just willing to hold on and let it go, this was coming up on the end of the trading day. So, 2 o'clock my time, which is 1400. So I was kind of like, I don't really want to be in when the trading closes because I know we're heading into a holiday and volume's going to be lower. So I ended up there. And I'm pretty happy overall, I think, with, if you look at my overall P&L, this is where we started. I think the end of day 1 is right here. So I ended up 323. And then, I actually ended up, maybe I ended up 2248. This has fees in it. And then the next day, it's probably like right here. Yep. So I ended up like $5 and change. There it is. 618 or 648 or something. 714, something like that. So basically, a couple days, and then I had some good trades, and then we kind of have done much better as we continue to learn. And so I think, at some point, what the progress will be is I plan to probably buy a course, the one from Rosato's channel. All of his other videos seem very good. So I plan to go through that. It's like a 28 plus hour course. So I'll start going through that and sharing what I learn as I go, just to kind of keep you guys up to date. And once I get through that, the goal is continue to be patient, continue to trade like I am, and then see if I can, instead of doing one particular, here, I'll just show it back here. And down. So like on the DOM, now my head's in the way again. On the DOM, right, quantity. So like instead of buying 1 on the micro, I could be buying 5 and then exiting out or 10. And then if it moves in my direction to start and I get 20 points, sell off 5 of the 10 and then let the other 5 ride. And basically at that point, you're looking at a kind of free roll, if you will, and hopefully they continue to move in that direction. So that will be kind of the move up plan: is stop trading 1, start trading 2, do that with 2, start trading 5, get out with 2 or 3 once it moves in your direction. But really the main plan is really stay focused on finding these zones, getting more training, and going from there. So that is kind of where things are at. The binary options trading that I have been doing on pocket options is definitely not, like, I have just so much less control and so much less data, like indicator wise, than I do here on Trade-of-8. And so I probably will try and kind of mess around with that in my off time and just try and get through the bonus and then cash out. But it's probably definitely not a long-term profitable thing, which is why I think a lot of people lose money there. So, and I may just cash out and not even care about the bonus. It just kind of depends. So it may end up just kind of being my little side gambling fund and just putting in some trades when I think they are, a much better probability of working out and raising my dollar amount for my bets. But this is definitely my focus right now. So that's what I have for you. I hope you enjoy this video. If you have questions, put them down there. Please subscribe. It just helps me get some traction. And like the video if you would. So I appreciate it, and have a great night or morning or whenever you're watching this. Have a great day. And if you are watching this close to Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I hope your holidays are great. So we will see you in the next video. Bye for now.